The MiG-21 Bison is probably the most unique take on the MiG-21 formula. It is also the only top tier premium jet we just got in this update, which is focusing on being a fighter. And no, I can already tell you that it's not worth 75 euros or dollars currently. If it goes on sale, yeah, sure. But why is it not worth it? Well, we're going to discuss this in this video today. First and foremost, the good thing is, the tree in which it is located in the UK tech tree, it is pretty decent. Because the UK tech tree sooner or later is going to have some pretty potent fighters, especially soon coming with the Eurofighter, and currently now having the Gripen C. And it also has pretty decent ground attackers with the Tornado. But that's about it when it comes to top tier. Currently, the MiG-21 Bison is located on BR 11.7, and I do believe that this is more than okay. Yes, there are more capable planes in the BR bracket which can completely stomp you, and yes, you are in a BR bracket where you are already able to see things like the AMRAAM or the PL-12s. But if you know how to defend against them and know how to use your RWR, it should be fine. With that out of the way, let's commence with the armament of the Bison. The main point why the Bison exists is it was an upgrade of the normal MiG-21 Bis. Because India was like, hey, we still have quite a lot of them, what should we do? Because they're not adequate anymore. They don't have any SAR-H capabilities except for old R3Rs, and that was about it. Also, some newer models of missiles simply weren't there, and let's be honest, R60Ms at this point in the day, they were just blech. So this is why India decided to put into this thing a radar which is more or less on the level of the Yak-141, actually a little bit better, and if I'm not mistaken, it would theoretically be a PASA radar, aka a passively electronically scanned array radar, which is insanely potent in theory. In game, it is pretty good. It has TWS, it has all the blows and whistles you really need. It also technically has a ground mode, so you can lock people on the ground. Is it really useful with the weapons you have? No, not really. Is a TWS really useful? Kinda, but also not really, because this thing theoretically could mount R77s. Would this be a good idea? No. Why? Because if Gaijin would decide to give this Bison the R77s it could carry, you would need to upgrade its BR to bare minimum 12.3, and I doubt that you will have fun in that BR bracket because, oh, what happens? Exactly, you constantly fly against 13.0 planes which can wield AMRAAMs, which are quite a lot better than the R77s, and you are still a MiG-21. So currently it has the R27Rs for its radar engagements. These are more than fine. They are really decent missiles. Especially now with the new multipath changes, you notice quite a lot that you can slam people quite frequently in head-on engagements at lower altitudes as well. However, it is important to point out, the other radar missile you're going to face the most amount of time will be the AIM-7F. And at higher altitudes, and even at longer engages, the AIM-7F is going to slam you out of the air, thanks to its sustainer booster, giving it almost 30% more energy than what the R27R has. For that in return, you do have more G overload, 35 compared to the 25 of the AIM-7. Still, this means that it is a better dogfight missile, yes, but as soon as you're above 5, 6, 7 kilometers, you start notice the fact that you are missing that sustainer booster what the ER theoretically would have, which the Bison cannot wield. So you have to keep that in mind while using it, but it should also be fine because you have a really good TWS mode and you also have an HMD mode, meaning you can click on people very quickly. By the way, yes, it also does have the IR version of the R27Rs, but honestly, the R versions are just more reliable because the Ts can get fairly easily just flared away and you lose a potent missile slot. So that is why I only drive with the radar version. Another point is you are having access to R-73s. Yes, those Russian thrust vectoring missiles. They do have IRCCM. It is a little bit different than what you know from the AIM-9M. Here, I highly recommend to watch Defin's video because he explained it insanely well. Yes, that is a little bit weird, hearing a little old me telling you to watch somebody which has 120,000 subscribers. So yes, I do believe you will know them more than you know me. Regardless, the R-73s are great, especially with the HMD, and if people don't know how to flare them, or for example are playing something like an F-14, which is very, very hot on its ass, yeah, you will get very frequently free kills against those people. That's it more or less for the air-worthy weaponry. Yes, you also have ground ordnance, but I have to be completely honest. This is a fighter. You play this as a fighter to grind for the tree, which is pretty decent because in the tree you have the Tornado GR1. Is it a good ground attacker? Nyeh. Does it work? Yeah, sure. Why? It gets the PGM 500 and the PGM 2000. These are fine forget rocket bombs. Are they easy to spot? Absolutely. They have massive chemtrails. Are they easy to shoot down? Absolutely. Are they still good because they're fine forget? Yes. They're still, I would say the United Kingdom Tornado is a lot better than the Italian Tornado, because the Italian Tornado only has access to laser guided bombs, where you can make one flyover and get maybe one kill. With the PGMs, you go in, zoom, and you get them out. Anyway, it is at 11.3. It has technically 4 fire and forget bombs. This one has 2, which as far as I'm aware doesn't really track vehicles either. So yeah, it's not bueno. Like, again, just use it as a fighter. And because it is a fighter, we should probably also talk about its flight performance and the airframe in general. Here, I already can tell you, it is lacking 60 additional flares, apparently. It should have 120, currently it has 60. And that would be great, because you definitely need a lot more flares and shafts now in the current top tier meta. But I also have to say, look, at 11.7, when we look plus minus 3 or 4, right, what exactly can you find? You have F4S, which is a Phantom, which you can slam because you're a MiG-21. You have the MiG-23 ML and MLD, which quite heavily got shafted recently, which you can theoretically slam. Then you have the F-16s, which are very hard to slam because they are basically you but better in every single way, especially energy retention and energy generation. Then you have the F-14, which is just big and chunky, which at the second or third turn will outturn you thanks to its massive engines and the massive lift made by the wings. However, in the first and second turn, you should be able to get onto them and then shoot them. And I know some people are like, I don't like radar gun sights, but for me, especially with the MiG-21, having the gun on the bottom, on the belly of the plane, can make it quite hard to hit. So I do actually like the capability of this plane to have a radar gun sight, and that is awesome. Like, this is the only MiG-21 in the game which has a radar gun sight. Yippee, finally I can hit something again, you know? But in the end, it's still a MiG-21 bis, and as you know, the MiG-21 bis currently is at 11.0. This thing is 11.7, 2 BR brackets above, thanks to the fact that it has more modern armament. It has less armament, but more modern. So it works. I have to put it that way, it works. You can dogfight things, but as soon as you see something like an F-15 or an F-16, be prepared that you will just die. And this is basically where I want to transition to the final section again, where we go quickly on to the conclusion again. Yes, it works. Yes, I still believe that this thing is a hidden gem. This is probably the hidden gem of the update. Why? It doesn't meet all the AMRAM spammers at 13.0. Yes, it can find some with the F-14 having gotten a buff thanks to multipathing being changed. And for example, the AV-8B, but who plays the AV-8B, the J8F, but who plays the J8F, you know. Yes, there are things you can face which have AMRAMs or RHs, you know. But it is very, very, very minor compared to what, for example, a 12.0 plane would see. But still, the BR bracket can be very, very difficult. I have my fun because I like the Bison. It is my favorite MiG-21 idea, you know? So I'm also biased in that regard. But I do believe that 75 euros or $1 is simply too much for this plane. Is it the best grinder for Great Britain? Absolutely. Because the F4J is a travesty on two afterburning J79 engines. Because obviously the F4 junk doesn't even get a display engine. It doesn't even get the HMD. And it's the same VR as the F4S. With sky flashes. Not even super temps, sky flashes. Oh, this thing is fucking garbage. The MiG-21 Bison, on the other hand, you can dogfight things. You might theoretically have it harder to grind with it because you can't really go for ground pounding. And please, for the love of God, do not go ground pounding with this thing. But it still works, and I've had my fun. But I think you also now understand why I think you shouldn't buy it right now, because it's simply overpriced. Like, holy moly, 75 euros. It doesn't even have a clickable cockpit. For 75 euros, I can probably buy the same thing with, like, I don't know, 3,000 pieces as a off-brick or alt-brick Lego model, you know? That have actually something physically which have several hours to work with, you know? So I like the plane. It is definitely the hidden gem of this update, but I simply cannot recommend buying it right now. If it goes on sale, yes, sure, it is a good grinder, and it is going to be a good grinder for a tree which is having a pretty decent amount of top-tier planes, which then will be good with the Gripen C for South Africa, as well as sooner or later the Eurofighter coming, and I think F-18, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this rambling about. My name is RagingRaptor, and I hope to see you around. Goodbye!